So today we are going to be taking a look at some of the Ruby and Amethyst Menace that's been going around. I have a version that I think I like quite a bit, and I would like to do a bit of testing with it. It is leaning a bit heavier on things like controlling the board early, getting down some 1/3s, having follow-ups of either Teeth and Ambitions to deal with aggro, running out some 3/3s, bouncing these back, being able to ink them, and eventually doing the normal, mims and goats and rabbits to draw a bunch of cards, whatever, and then sort of closing out the game with the Lady Tremaine with bounce kind of control package. We've got the Be Prepared, it's pretty standard. Friends on the Other Side and Maleficent Dragon. This sort of set of cards is pretty standard to most of these type of decks. And then we've got the mini and the spell books, as well as the goat, sort of to give us a little bit of extra reach, if we're not just questing with Tremaines on their own. The deck should be pretty good. It's very control-y, very mid-rangey. You're playing a lot of cards towards the mid-game. You're drawing a lot of cards with the rabbits. You're bouncing them back to your hand. You're sort of dealing with what's on the board. Deck feels like it's probably quite strong, especially against an unprepared opponent. I do have a tournament coming up. Not a huge one, but I have a little small local thing coming up, and I'm missing, maybe 2 Tremaines and 2 Mim Fox from my paper cards to be able to just have this deck. Also Teeth and Ambitions, I suppose. I did order these, but we'll see if I get them. So this is one of the decks that I'm considering, or potentially just Ruby Sapphire. At least those are what I'm getting close to having in paper. So I have already got this brought up on Pixelborn with this current deck list, so let's go ahead and play a couple games, and then we'll see how the deck feels. There are other variations. I have tried the ones that have played Arthur a lot, and I've found that it is a very strong card that is also very fragile, especially in the current metagame. Most decks are more or less prepared to deal with something like Arthur, and if you have an awkward hand where there's not a lot of reasonable things for you to be bouncing with the Arthur, then it's kind of a mid card, mostly because it just is a 1/3. It's not particularly exciting, and if you're not playing a more aggressive version of the deck, I don't know if it necessarily fits. So okay, so looking at our opener, we probably don't need this Be Prepared. We like the Lady Tremaine, the Teeth and Ambitions, the Merlin. We probably don't need the Goat. I'd like to keep a little bit of ink in our hand, because obviously we are going to need to be inking something to go along with this rabbit eventually. And since Lady Tremaine cannot be inked, I'm thinking that I keep these 2 as potential inks. But at least the Maleficent. Let's get rid of the Yzma. Well, immediately punished, of course. That was the reason that I was considering keeping an extra one. Hopefully we draw, I guess, sort of just runner ink so that we can just start playing rabbits. So I don't know for sure if they are... No, let's do this. We're going to ink the Olaf and just play the Tremaine since they go. So then we can shift it in a couple of turns if we want, or this also threatens the Pascal the same way. Okay, so they opt not to quest with it, so we can go ahead and dump the Yzma here, and I think we just say go. I don't want them to be able to, like, Mim Fox this when we can just shift with Lady Tremaine next turn. And if we're not shifting, we can just play the rabbit, which is also fine. Alright, they just draw 2 cards. I feel like we don't necessarily need this Maui here. We can just play the rabbits. Play rabbits, say go. We are going to start doing something soon here. Probably next turn we're maybe looking to shift this and then sing here. Even better is we're looking to Teeth and Ambitions here. And then, or sorry, the Pascal and then do. I think that is probably better. So we Teeth, sing this, put the damage on the rabbit, kill the Pascal. We shift here, which will kill the Arthur. And then I think we can just bash, and we can just ink the friends on the other side since we have 2 rabbits in our hand. And the Mim here. We can do something with this Mim, probably bounce the Tremaine, and then we can just be playing rabbits all day. So they're going to Maui the Tremaine, so we won't have access to that, but that's fine. I think on our turn here, we could just bash the Maui with our rabbit. I think that's fine. And then we're probably going to play a Merlin. And then bounce it back to our hand. Don't need this mini. Play this and say go. I'd like to get this spellbook down and cook in here. So we've drawn another Maleficent Dragon. I think we can get rid of this Yzma here. I don't know if we necessarily need to cook with this book just yet. I think I can play the Merlin first. And then just run out the book and probably just bash with the Mim. This way we have a Tremaine target here as well. They get rid of a goat. Okay. They Be Prepared us. Interesting. Okay. Their hand must be very control-y if they're Be Prepareding in that spot. Which I suppose makes sense. Draw our card off. Get our goat here. We're a little bit slow on the board here. I suspect that they didn't pass because we had the card draw. They probably Be Prepared and click pass. It's fine. Kind of like this Christmas theme. Let's draw some cards here. I think we need all these teeth. Kind of fine playing the Maleficent Sorceress here, and then just spellbooking and saying go. I'd like to get this down after maybe another Be Prepared. They have Mim Dragon. Okay. They opt to play Arthur. Double Arthur. Okay. Interesting. I'm debating if I want a Maleficent here. Probably. Just take out one of these Arthurs. not like within a super close range of this spellbook getting them, so can afford to be a little off curve for it to get the Maleficent Dragon down. Are they going to Maleficent Dragon themselves? No, they're going to Elsa, sure. Still Elsa 2 things, and then attack with the Arthur. Are they bouncing Elsa? Sure. So we can kill the Arthur here. If we bash it and then give some teeth here. I think we'll do that, give teeth, and then I don't think I need to do anything else from my hand here. I think we can afford to just do nothing. So now they still have to do something. And if it's just run out Elsa again, that's not particularly exciting. They opt to Tremaine us. That is okay. We will get rid of this Maleficent. I'm likely going to kill the Arthur here on our turn. Mim Fox. Ooh. Okay, let's get rid of the mini. We'll go bash with both of these. We'll Maleficent again. And now we're getting really close with this spellbook to just killing our opponent. Since we're at 11 here, we can gain 3 from this goat on our turn, which is pretty substantial. So if we only have the option of gaining 3, that's still quite good. We've drawn another Merlin Rabbit. If we do this, we don't need to let them know about that combo yet. We just draw a card. We can Maui this here. Feels pretty good. Now, it's up to our opponent whether they want to be prepared or just be essentially dead on board. If they do anything with this other than, like, remove everything on board, they're pretty well just screwed. Okay. We take those. They must not have had anything else. So it felt pretty good. Felt pretty in control there. Draw a lot of extra cards with the rabbits. I got to bounce some extra things. The version that they were playing, which is a little bit bigger on the mana, running like the Elsas and the Mim Dragon, it feels very awkward, I think, as far as how it kind of lays out its curve generally. I mean, it has the same package, but again, there was sort of the example of why I think Arthur is kind of not the greatest threat ever, because they played a bunch of Arthurs and they couldn't really ink them because they are uninkable, and they didn't really do that much. They felt very disappointing overall just because of the sort of nature of an uninkable threat that doesn't have rush, that doesn't really do anything on its own either. So if we were behind, it would be pretty good there. RMB, I'm doing pretty well. I caught your stream. I watched the VOD later. I can definitely see your version of that deck being a little bit more my speed, certainly. Where you're just looking more to ramp and go big. But we're playing a little bit of the enemy here today, I think. This is a kind of awkward draw, because like this doesn't really do anything until quite a bit later. We can keep the Maui to maybe ink, because we need ink for these. Okay, not my favorite hand, but it'll be fine. We'll get rid of the Maui. We can maybe just friends on the other side on 3. Hopefully they're not a particularly fast draw. It seemed really, really slick. You know, some of your matchups were not necessarily the trickiest of opponents. Not necessarily that the opponents themselves were bad, but their like deck was not lined up very well with what you were doing, of course. Any deck that folds to Swords or Tinkerbell feels a little rough. I'd like to see it bash against like more of this, more. I mean, honestly, the Popsicle, a little bit of Paid Actors, yeah. Popsicles, I think, would be an interesting deck for you to battle, because the Bell is good, but I'm not sure how you perform overall against like Be Prepared control decks that aren't purple, right? So that might be interesting, because we battled against that. We battled against some really heavy control decks here. And then the control matchup is always really interesting to me. Just because of how that can play out. Do we get rid of a Fox Mim? That seems like actually foolishness, huh? Like, I really want to play this Maleficent. I guess because we have so many rabbits, we can get rid of one Friends on the other side. And then we can, like, sing this other one. Morning, Rigaseth. How are you? Yeah, I don't see it very often either until I'm playing anything other than Popsicle, and then I see it all the time. It's crazy. I don't know where people are playing it. I've probably played it more than the average person, you know, overall. And my win rate is, like, barely above 50% on it, because it's, like... I mean, nah, it's not barely above 50%. It's, like, 60-something%, but it's, like... over a lot of games where I was just crushing the meta because they hadn't adapted yet, too. Where I was like 80%, and then all of a sudden that just like took a deep slide into oblivion, right? What are they looking to do here with 1 mana? I don't know if I know what their other color is. And if we do, I don't know if I was paying enough attention. It feels like they are spending an awful lot of time on this turn to just blast our guy. Okay, well, fair enough. I guess we probably won't need this Minnie Mouse then, because we're going to have plenty of aggro if they're playing green. I'm just going to get rid of this and just start playing 100 rabbits. We do have a line next turn also where we can bash something, bounce with the Mim, bash another thing, and then play this one and put them all in our hand and just have like 10 cards in hand. Oh, they must be playing discard. Yeah. Okay, so the question is, do I clean up this whole board? Probably. What are we discarding then? So if we're killing both of these, we could in theory even leave the Mim in play and just play the Tremaine instead. What are we discarding then? Does that mean that we discard this Mim? That's probably it. Teeth and Ambition. That is much better against this, but I don't think I care that much. I think we're just gonna get rid of this. Bash here. Just don't ever see a time when we're gonna need this Friends on the other side either, but it's really weird. I hate it. I don't know what we're discarding to this Daisy deck. All I've done is discard Friends on the other side against a discard deck. I don't know if that feels right. But I just want to, like, play all these rabbits, and maybe I should have just gotten rid of one of the rabbits over the friends on the other side, because we can sing it here. Yeah, I think it's also uninkable. I think singing one of them would have been more reasonable. To get us up, like, 3 cards next turn. Yeah, we probably only needed 2 rabbits in play. It's fine. Ah, I see. Yeah, the 12 ink over 3 turns is a little rough. How are we gonna deal with this bell? Tremaine, I suppose? Yeah. But yeah, because this is like almost a forced attack here. Is there a world where we ever quest with this and then bounce it back? I don't think so. I think I'm fine with it being dead, because I just don't see us killing this. I think we just smash it. And then we just, like, jam a Merlin here. Could play an Olaf, but I think I'm just gonna ink it, because I'd like to be able to do, like, 2 things next turn. Like, I want to be able to do Merlin Maleficent or Merlin Mim. I wouldn't even hate getting to a spot where, like, I have no cards, and then I just, like, bash a spell because all my cards are tied up in rabbits. Discards all their cards. Yeah, we just kind of need to find a Tremaine, and then I think we're fine. Oh, that's true. I don't think that's going to be that necessary in this spot, because they're, like, we have to be the beatdown. I don't think, if they're attacking, like, our stuff, I think we're favored here then, just because all of their things are 3 lures. I would assume all of their things are 3 lures. Given the color combo. Fire the cannons. We have been fired. Yeah, Belle can be a little scary. We just need to dig deep to find a Tremaine, I think. Is sort of where I'm at on it. She's not super popular, I think, because there's a lot of answers to the Hidden Archer. Like, there's not infinite answers, obviously, but there are quite a few to a card like this. Just gonna play this. Like, this card is strong, but it's uninkable, just like Kuzco is. I don't find this that much necessarily scarier than a Kuzco. Though it is stronger, I think, than Kuzco, because, like, the Mim can't just eat it for free. You have to jump through some sort of a hoop to kill it, which in this case is like discarding your hand or whatever. But there's enough, like, Tremaines and yeah. Like, I mean, I guess this is sort of what we gotta do here. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Is this when it's challenged, so I just immediately yeet my hand? Okay, Maui, you're just, like, not it. Next turn I have the line of, like, Mim Fox plus Tremaine to do it again. Maybe Beat Prep Draw 2 is okay there. Like, if they're just playing more Kuzcos, it can be problematic. Like, now... Yeah, maybe the B-Prep Draw 2 was just better there. Because now we're going to have to do it anyway. Oh, I guess I could just draw another Tremaine anyway. Well, now I certainly like it. Oh. Okay, I've seen this game before. I have an idea of our next couple of plays. I suspect that they are going to be Lady Tremaines. Uh-huh. That is a bell. If we draw like a cheap inkable thing, I'll probably get rid of it to friends on the other side. Yeah, that's fine. Tremaine. I feel like we're in a really good spot here. I'd like to ideally save a Tremaine or like a Fox's Tremaine to get rid of another ward character if they play one, but we'll do this for now because it allows us to draw the 2 extra cards. Then we'll just say go. I always forget about the lines of just like blasting your own board. I feel like I've lost to a double goat board that they just be prepared more than more often than not, which is interesting. Like, it's a way of just, like, removing them from the board, which I think is kind of interesting. Okay. So we'll use a Maleficent to deal with that, I think. Maleficent, taking care of the Mad Hatter. Quest for 2, say go. Yeah, the Merlins, like, the rabbit, the goat, they're just so ridiculous. I kind of want to put a crab in this deck somewhere. Like, okay, let's imagine that this deck starts to be more of the meta. It's already a lot of the meta. And you're playing, like, the Surfer minis. You kind of have to have an answer to opposing Surfer minis. And a really clean answer is just straight up a crab, like, buffing your mini and just bashing, which I think is sort of absurd. I think my play is actually, because I want to close this game out, I think I'm just going to play a Tremaine here, and then we're going to Spellbook. And then that'll make sure that even if they're able to somehow, like, double swords or something, which they can't really do anyway, that the game is just over. The Pan's Shadow version does have answers. You just deal with it that way. That's true. It's interesting. I feel like the decks can kind of cannibalize themselves a little bit. Goofies over minis, sure that they're a little bit bigger, sure. It's a little bit more expensive too, being a 5-drop instead of a 3. I almost think I would like that more if there were like 5-cost songs. Alright, an easy 2-0. Run it back here. Yeah, I'm not sure how it is either. I like the crab because it's inkable, so even in matchups where it's not amazing, you can get rid of it, and it like is sort of versatile because you can bounce it too and do the extra effect. So you can like mim Fox and just like smash a 7 with it. Just kind of interesting. I don't know if that's that good. But it can let you kill things that you normally wouldn't be able to with the Mim Fox as well. Like, I wouldn't want to flood myself with crabs, but, you know, 1 or 2 is sort of interesting. And the person who had suggested it was Elrathian, which I generally tend to think that their opinion on a deck like this has some weight, just because they've played a lot of the video game. Especially with these colors. So experience, you know, can certainly speak volumes there. Do we just not want this Tremaine? I don't think we ever want to keep Goat. I think Goat is just like a do-nothing card. But we want them later. Like, it's just not that good early, but we want all of them on turn 8 or 9 or whatever. Like, I like the Olaf and the Mini. I'm almost thinking this. But then we just get rid of all of our ink. Yeah, I just have to trust the people who've played 400 games more of it than I have. Oh, I guess we just get to keep them all. Okay. That's cool. That's fine. It's whatever. It doesn't really matter. I mean, look, I'm a popsicle enjoyer myself, and I can admit that sometimes it's just not that good. Even if I don't like it. Given what we drew, and that our opponent is likely on mill, I think I'd rather try and keep all of these and less goats. We can get rid of one here. Do we bait this Prince Eric into getting mimmed? Does that even matter? Because the Maleficent can get it anyway. And, like, I'm looking to play this rabbit most of the time, I think. Yeah, I think the Merlin Rabbit and the Mim and, like, this shit is... It's very, very strong. I think I can get in here. If they want to do this, I can just get it with the Maleficent, bounce the Maleficent, instead of playing the Rabbit, and I think that's fine. I just think the purple cards are, like, incredibly strong compared to, like, the non-purple ones. So it makes me feel like most of the time you just, like, want to be doing that stuff. I'm gonna do this. I'm just debating if I'm supposed to just ink to play the rabbit here, or if I'm supposed to, like, play the Tremaine so that I can start shifting Tremaines. I feel like I need to get ink down. I could play the Mim, bounce this, and then ink the Maleficent. I think I'm better off just doing this, unfortunately. I'm saying go. Yeah, true, true. Are they looking to shift? Probably, or they're just going to attack. It would be preferred if they just attacked instead of shifting. Oh, interesting. They don't attack or shift. They just loot. And they loot away Whole New World. So they probably have another Whole New World in their hand. Okay. We're just gonna have a big awkward hand, I guess. Kind of fine with it, but I've played that mill deck a little bit, and I know that the biggest way to just dump truck it is to remove all of its things, so they just have to pay mana for their shit. Because it is so miserable paying mana for stuff from the other side. Like, you just don't want to be casting your stuff for 5. Like, Whole New World for 5 is really rough. I'm in Minnesota, in America. But you're American. I don't know why I said that. I know that you're American. I'm in Minnesota. Like, I know that you're from here. Usually at this time slot, like, this is definitely not your typical American streaming time, right? Yeah, but I've been on, ever since Storybook Brawl, I was always on the really, like, late Crackhead shift anyway. So I just, like, never really changed it back. So if we do this, I should probably, like, bounce the Tremaine back to my hand. Which I'm fine with. We can do that, and then this maybe. But yeah, I've been on, like, this sort of Euro kind of overnight schedule for streaming for a long time. And I don't know, I like it. Some days I stream during the day, but it just depends. I do not like that attack at all. I do not like that attack at all, especially when they know that we have Lady Tremaine in hand. Like, we're obviously gonna Tremaine this. I would have definitely used the Captain Hook there to try and bag hold the, or to protect. Yeah, there are some days where I stream earlier, but I generally have, like, so my partner is a bartender, so she doesn't usually get home until a couple hours from now yet, like maybe 4 a.m. So then, you know, we'll unpack for the day or whatever a little bit. So then I'm just like not sleeping until 5 a.m. or whatever, no matter what. So it's one of those kind of situations. And I don't mind it. Like, for me, I've been a night owl pretty well forever anyway, so that's like not really that big of a deal for me. But it definitely does, you know, the way that you have to operate your life is a little bit different. Yeah, I remember that deck with the Snow Whites. I think it's cool. Bringing all your stuff back. Those colors have been seeing a lot more popularity. The Amber Ruby. Mufasa is like a monster. Okay, I think we finally ran out of things that just kill their cards, so they're going to get to sing. Unfortunately for them, it is a bit too late. Because they are pretty well dead on board. And I guess we run this out and ink this if they're going to wheel. Well, they're dead on board with the spellbook, so they gotta wheel and look for something to deal with the spellbook. But I believe that we've only gone down 1 goat, so there's another 3 goats in this deck that just get them dead. I see. I mean, I appreciate what they're trying to do, which is find another swords to kill our board. But then the spellbook still gets them, so we'll take this one as well. Yeah, as long as they don't have the opportunity to sing, this deck is a little rough. Yeah, we'll get them with the goat. Or the spellbook. Like, either one of these is just big lethal. Ooh, they just wheel us again. I love it. I love it. Wheel a 3rd time. Alright, fair enough. Oh, that was a nice, clean 3-0. We like those. We like those for sure. Yeah, I've been trying to do more content that's a little bit more focused on being able to put it up to YouTube, so that we can eventually funnel there a little bit more effort. So we'll see, you know. I've been enjoying testing these other decks. I liked working on the Ruby Sapphire Popsicle pile for quite a while, but again, sometimes you just have to concede that if it's not great in the meta at the time, that you got to figure out some other plan. And I do think that some variation on this control deck is just always going to be pretty good. And then the specific card choices will be a little meta dependent, and then I think that there is like the Sapphire Steel, just because the answers match the metagame a little bit closer. I like this. I don't like this. I mean, I do like this, but maybe we keep this. Like, just straight up. And then if we draw any other inkable card, we still get to keep this. And if we don't draw one soon enough, then we can get rid of the friends on the other side. We do this. I think I just slam out Lady Tremaine straight up. It's like we're against discard again, of some sort. Looks like the full-on Bucky discard pile. Alright. Get in there, Maui. Alright, so I think our play is to Minnie Mouse here. And then my intention is to sing Friends on the Other Side with Minnie Mouse. And then that should be okay. Are there only 5 color pairings? I guess. There's only 5 really good ones. We can discard a rabbit. And then that means that we get to just get the Bucky, which is nice. Are they gonna quest with it? Can't imagine, right? Oh, right. Yeah. I was thinking like all the color pairings. No, you mean Steel X color pairings. I understand now. I have cracked the code. Okay, with the Mim here, I don't think that we need the Teeth and Ambitions against this particular deck. And it means that I like the shifting of Tremaine even more here because it allows us to deal with the Bucky, and then we can bounce it back and then try to deal with whatever else they're doing. If they play John or whatever. So get rid of that, we'll attack. And now, like, Donald Duck is a little bit of an awkward play because we don't discard a card then either. And we can always lean into the rabbits if we want. Ah, they're blue. Yes, I do think Green Steel is a very strong list. Sudden Chill. I believe that we dump the goat here. Let's play the Merlin. Do we just Teeth and Ambitions the Flynn Rider here? I don't think we have to. I think I'm debating on whether or not I ink here. You want to go all the way down to 1 card? Yeah. I was just thinking about protecting the Maleficent. I guess if all they do is make us discard a Mim, we don't really care. I would really like to be able to bounce this Tremaine back to hand so that we can discard the little one. Like, that was my thought, but if they blast the 1 card out of our hand, that means that they're probably not adding anything to their board, so that's fine. So we have a pretty fast clock here. Another Bell. I do not think that this is a very good card. We do that. I think I'm gonna do this. I guess I just want to replay the rabbit. Kind of weird, but like I just don't know what they're going to be able to do in blue-green to be able to stop us from just beating them to death in 2 turns. Hey Za, how are you? Like Bell just... Did it bounce Tremaine? Alright. Sure. Hey Soldus, how are you? Wow. All-stars tonight. Yeah, we dumped this Maleficent, I suppose. Yeah, right? Kind of just want to dig for more goats, but we could just, like, play Tremaine again. I don't know. I don't know if our choices really matter here. If I'm totally honest at this point in the game, this color combo doesn't really have anything that's going to be able to stop just this mini from questing 3 more times. So I think we're in an okay spot. Ooh, John Silver stops us from questing 3 more times. Shit. We fucked it. Our opponent had it the whole time. We're never going to be able to quest with this again. It's just going to die into this Bell. They've got the combo. What do I do? They have the full Wombo combo. Wait, why did they tap their bell to bounce our Tremaine again? What do you bounce? We bounced the rabbit to draw us 2 cards. Okay. I like that. Yeah, being able to bounce the targeted thing so we don't have to die to the bell is kind of amusing. We could also just, like, blow up the board. Yeah, I don't even think I blow up the board. I'm just gonna do this. And, like, just bounce the mini and play more guys. It's fine. Yeah, we could be prepared there, but they're just, like, dead on board. To just the bell, or just the mini again, yeah. Like, if I play the mini again, I don't need to do that, I can just win the game. Because they have to quest with the John to make me force attack again. Otherwise, I just get to hit them there. Yeah, and so you get it. There are some decks that John is really strong against, but not a lot. Oh my god, this hand is, like, not strong. I think I keep these for ink, just to make sure that we don't have an unplayable hand. Admittedly, we could have kept the 6-mana Tremaine, but I think this hand is fine. Can even hold on to one of these Yzmas. We have a 1-2-3, which is not bad. Against Noda, good opponent here. See what they're on. Mirror, probably, maybe. Yeah. Some mirror flavor. Yeah, I don't think we'll need that. Let's play out our idiots. Stick this and then hope that it's gonna... Ooh, 2 of them. Our opponent's curve is not spectacular. I wonder if they're on an even more controlling version of the deck. I see. To the Shadow Realm, then. Fair enough. They have realized that that mini is going to get them for, like, 10. Which means that they didn't have an answer to it in hand. And they weren't going to be able to answer it until B prep at best. So, when you're in that kind of spot, it's just really tough. Just concede and go next. I think we're against them again. I don't know if I would change my mulligan decisions much. Get rid of the goat is fine. We can keep the Tremaine shift package. I didn't even look. I can look after this game. We want the Tremaine shift package. It's pretty good. Maybe we get rid of Yzma as well. We'd have 2 inkables. Now we have to keep Yzma. Yeah, it's a good call. Hopefully they don't play a 1-drop. We did play a 1-drop. That's unfortunate. Especially since we don't have one. It will allow us to undo their Pascal. Maybe they're on a more aggressive version and they just like, oh, they're on a totally different deck now. I see. Well, this hand is big garbage against them. Uh-oh. I was not prepared for this. Yzma's gotta go. Tremaine getting some work done here. Teeth would be a good draw. Oh, goodness. To the Shadow Realm, you say? Yikes. I think we have to attack. Hello? Oh, right, they're not tapped yet. We can't attack them. Okay. Well, we don't attack them, because we are not the beatdown. Right, they didn't attack with these because we would have just killed their thing. Smart. They're bouncing Maleficent, just replaying it. Maleficent again. Mim bouncing the Arthur back. Okay, that's fair. I'm debating this Maui. Like, I think we have to shift Tremaine this turn. Like, I think we have to mini this Lilo and shift the Tremaine down. I'm just debating whether or not this Maui is even going to be good against this deck, because they're going to have a face-up Arthur. Or if I need to have this Friends on the other side so I can sing with the Lady Tremaine. I think I might need to sing with the Lady Tremaine. So I'm thinking I'm going to hit here. I'm going to shift this. And then I would assume that they're going to eat maybe the Pascal or the Mim. Probably not the Maleficent, though. Yeah. Honestly, we could do it now. I kind of need this to, like, pressure them. Wait, how are they going to kill this? With Mim? You're right, I may have to shift again, so I should probably hold it then. I'm just thinking, like, okay, we know that their hand is Arthur X. If their play is to Mim our thing, well, I'm just gonna say go. But if their play is to Mim our Tremaine here, I don't really think that that gives them that forward of a game plan. So maybe this was fine, because it stops them questing with it, and then it just deletes it. They did just nothing. Okay. Paris, I have played Fairy Tale Fables, yeah. I don't necessarily think that it is fully ready for everybody's consumption just yet, but I do think that it is, it's getting there. I think it's really getting there. Right now it feels a lot like some of the old beta branches used to on Storybook. I think we're getting rid of Maui here. And I'm considering just playing this Rabbit, because we need to get a little bit deeper into the deck. I don't think the mini is necessary here. Okay, I'm down to actually play this Olaf as well. And I think we can quest. Again, I think if they're attacking our things, that is not that bad for us. Compared to what the alternative is, which in this case is maybe just Arthuring us for 5. I'd like to get to a spot where we can Tremaine and, like, clean up an Arthur or whatever, which is possible. If they goad us for 5 here... Okay, so their hand... If it's just the goat, we're not in an awesome spot. Okay, how do we kill the stuff on their board? We can do this, this. That's an option. We need to use this to kill the goat, but if they just have double goat, we're just dead anyway. I would like to keep my Tremaine alive, so I think it's kill Arthur with this. Do Minnie and Merlin here. And then Olaf over here. Let's say draw my card. That was an insane draw, actually. I think we play that, and I actually am considering just the Minnie Mouse here. Getting rid of this one. I'd like to bounce these both back to my hand and replay the little Tremaine that's underneath it. We can sing this. Oh, that's so good. Okay. So let's quest here. Play Mim. Bounce our Tremaine package. We'll play Tremaine here. We can quest here. Say go. If they have Goat plus Snake in their hand, they get us. Has to be Goat Snake. Well, they got us. Rip. There was not a way that we could... Didn't I quest Tremaine? I thought I did before I bounced it. I said I was doing it before I bounced it. Maybe I didn't actually. I suppose that's possible. I'm in 22nd. Oh, the second one. Yeah, you're right. I could have. Yes, I think the second one didn't. Oh, the one that I shifted. Yes, you're right. I could have done that, and I didn't. You are right. That is true. Yeah, there was a spot there where I... Yeah, no, I didn't have enough ink to be able to replay the little Tremaine to not be dead to that. But they had 5 burn in their hand, so I guess we were pretty ripped there anyway. I don't think we could have quested enough to... With our hand, I don't think we had enough to be able to claw it away from them with all that burn. If we had had the Surfer mini a little bit earlier, maybe, so that we were gaining value while we were doing that. Or a Teeth and Ambition, so that they just didn't gain nearly as much. But it can be tough sometimes. We were on the draw with the draw for this matchup. Without the Teeth and Ambitions or like an Olaf or something to sort of pressure it, it's hard. I like a lot of this hand. I don't like the Be Prepared here. I think I can get rid of just the Be Prepared, and then we have a lot to work with in most matchups. It's pretty good. We get a little bit of pressure from the mini. We get the Teeth and Ambitions with the Olaf or the Minnie Mouse, just because then so that we don't lose to some of their aggro decks. We should know roughly after they play a card what we want to do with our hand. No draw is a little rough, but we do have the Yzma that we can maybe try to keep around and tuck back in like the Mim or whatever. You can fly. So is this the red and yellow pile over here? Let's see. Okay, so we get rid of the Maleficent, play out a Minnie Mouse, and say go. This deck is basically like a red-yellow songs, probably playing flutes, if it's what I think it is. I would be fine to maybe teep this next turn. I still think if they quest with it, we can teeth it and just trade. What do we think about that? It's probably fine, right? Since we have so many teeth as well. I think we can get rid of 1 teeth. 3 is a lot. But I think I'm fine just, like, doing this. Just trading 2 for 2. Because I think their cards have a lot more value than ours in this spot. Like, the Queen is a much more powerful card than the 2 that we used. And we don't want them to be able to sing anything for free. And now we still have, like, Olaf plus Teeth if we have to deal with something right away. We can get rid of this. I'm considering just running out the Minnie Mouse. Though, I'm trying to think of what the downside is of that. It's not going to die to 1 teeth. I think it's fine. Yeah, we could try some of the various RP decks just to pressure test it a little bit. So there's an Ariel. We're a little bit behind this game, though we do have the Mim, which is something that can be pretty useful, especially if they start getting some things on the board. So they have some songs that they're looking at. Ariel bricking in a deck where I assume that they have north of 20 songs is a little rough. This card classically just says look at the bottom 4 cards of your deck. Alright, so if they look to quest here, then that is good for us. We don't need all of these Yzmas. So I could Teeth Cinder. I don't think I need to. Yeah, Ariel's not real. It's a fake card. I don't think I need to Teeth Cinder. I can just Mim the Queen of Hearts here. Like, I can Olaf, bounce the Olaf with the thing and just smash the Queen of Hearts. And I think I just quest. Like, they only have 1 card in their hand. They don't have that many songs that they can be playing in this spot. And the Queen of Hearts can flip into something that's, like, a little scarier to me. So, I think I'm okay with this. We just, like, do a reasonable Maui impression. Get that off the board. Quest for 2. Because there's, like, some of the targets that can be shifted on are much scarier to me than Cinderella, I think. I don't really know what their deck is doing. I'm perplexed. Oh, Lord. They got a Mulan. Are they gonna attack my Mim? Okay. My Mim is big dead. I see. Well, I have an idea. Have you seen Maui? Mulan means it has to be a good deck. Agreed. Have you seen Mulan? This is just the greatest character. Period. So, the cards have to be good. If the character is good, the cards are good. Like, you just can't argue with that. The logic is too sound. They have opted to do nothing. Fair enough. We quest here, we play the rabbit. Rabbit draws into another Minnie Mouse. I don't think I play anything. The Teeth can still be very good for us. I don't really need to deal with a single Queen of Hearts on its own, I don't think. I can admit that I might regret that. If they rip the Shift Queen and just, like, ruin my life, that's a possibility. But I'm definitely down to play another flying Minnie Mouse here, though they did demonstrate that they can kill flying characters, or evasive characters. They've demonstrated that that's a possibility. So, that is something to, give pause. We just, like, do this, banish this? Sure. I mean, I'm in a pretty firm position here. I don't really need to do much. I can just keep questing with the things that I've already played. I'm considering Yzma-ing this Merlin Rabbit just to draw 3 cards. Kinda don't hate that next turn. Assuming that my Merlin is even still alive. It is. We could draw like 6 cards. What do we think about drawing like 6 cards this turn? Feels a bit unnecessary, but like, it's gotta be. It's gotta be right. If it's wrong, I'll just be wrong forever, and I don't care. This is why I lose with Popsicle, okay? All I want to do is draw cards, alright? Look at how many cards we have in hand. If I was playing this in paper, I would have done that 100% of the time. Now, I guess we just finish the game. See? We drew all those cards and it gave us a spell book. Had to be right. We've got a nice 6-1 record. Pretty good so far. pretty good so far. Deck feels pretty strong. Again, I think if you expect to run into the mirror, like somebody playing those Surfer minis, then I could definitely see wanting a crab in your deck, maybe even two potentially. Like you could probably shave a Maui and it would be fine, because you can use the crab to trade up similarly to how a Maui can. Okay, so we need to get rid of the Tremaine and the goat, I think. You can hold on to the Yzma as ink, same with the Maui. Okay, that's fine. I think we get rid of the Yzma. Oh no, it's Zephyr YouTube. How do we win? What are they playing? Mufasa? Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa. Oh, don't Dad Blast me. I don't think it's the Dad Blast version. I think this is the Candio's Mufasa pile. So I suspect that this Maui will be pretty good. But I can maybe get rid of it because we have so many Mims. Mim is basically a Maui anyway. Alright, there's a Cindy. Oh, so they're playing something else. They're playing something with songs. Are they playing that flute deck? Did that flute deck have Surfer Stitches? Well, now I have no idea what he's on. Some amount of cards that you could be running. Steel Song? Flutie Duties? Don't be dooting on me. I mean, I suppose it makes sense if he's looking to make a YouTube video. It is the deck that did just most recently win. So, that is fair. What do I do with this sad little hand that I have? Just draw 2 cards. I think I have to get rid of this to do it, which is unfortunate. But I feel like it's what I have to do, given the texture of what my hand is. Draw cards does feel right a lot. I wonder if I can attack with this Tremaine. I don't care if the Cindy trades into it. And this doesn't feel like a matchup where I really need to be shifting it that badly. Because if they trade here, that's fine. That means that they don't have it as a shift target anymore. Which I think I'm okay with. Lawrence. 4-4 for 3. And we immediately draw a Tremaine and get punished. I guess Cindy would be there either way. Given that they are probably playing Smash, the Minnie Mouse is less important than just getting some card draw going. This is just a 4-4 if it has no damage. Crazy. Yeah, Pixelborn is great. They've done a very good job with the client. Well, I mean, Pavel has done a very good job because there's only obviously one person. So we could Teeth the Lawrence and just kill it for free if we decide to attack it with the Merlin Rabbit. So that's cute. That's an option. What's my alternative? Try to draw more cards and just ignore it. Okay, I think I have to get rid of this goat. I hate it, but I'm getting rid of this goat. And we're gonna Teeth it, and then I'm gonna play the spellbook. This and this. We could bounce the rabbit with the Mim. That's also an option. I kind of don't hate that. It's really dog shit if they immediately run out. We'll do it. Because if they kill it, the Mim gets really bad there. If they shift and then wheel us, like, they got me. But that's fine. I'm ideally trying to get set up to be able to play the Tremaine. Oh, they're playing Rapunzel too. This is a big Steel Mufasa pile. I see. Well, that makes the Lady Tremaine a little awkward, huh? It's going. I'm prepared for it to be fine. Sometimes you have to be willing to allow them to Mufasa you, and just assume that it, like Ariel, will just brick wide and then hit a song and then do nothing. Okay. Okay. I see. I see how this game is gonna be. Goofy has entered the chat. My things are all dying with their 10-10 on board. To shreds, you say? I see. I mean, our spot is fine. Look, we can play another Lady Tremaine. We could just leave Goofy in play. Have we considered that as a line? We, like, mim and kill the Tinkerbell, but then they can just Rapunzel and draw another 1,000 cards. Okay, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Let's instead just, like, we'll quest for 2 with this, and we'll be prepared. I was not prepared for Goofy. Let's be honest. I was not prepared. Yeah, have a good night, Soldus. Thanks for stopping by. I also don't want them to be in Surfer Stitch, like, draw cards range, because that's kind of awkward. Merlin Rabbit. Rabbit drawing, be prepared. Mufasa's a 3/3. Ugh, I hate that for us. I really would have liked this to be just a random inkable so we could just play a second rabbit. Okay, so there is a spot here where we use Minnie and Merlin to defeat this Mufasa, and then we just B-prep, because they only have 2 cards in hand. I think I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. But the Be Prepared makes it a lot better. Okay, they get docked, that's fine. Especially with the Tiana, the Be Prepared gets worse next turn. So I think we play that, we ink this and say go. Alright, so our opponent has nothing in play. If they play one big thing, we have the Tremaine. If they play one small thing, we also have the Tremaine. So I believe that we play the Tremaine, and then I kind of want to just play Maleficent by getting rid of one Maleficent. Alright, nice, we found a goat. So I feel a little better about where we're at. I don't love Mufasa. That's problematic. Okay, I think we do this. I don't think we can really do anything about this Mufasa unless we want to Tremaine it, but they can flip into something just better. And then we don't have our Mim anymore. I think I'm going to Rabbit first and see where that leaves us. I like that a little more. Because we can protect our Tremaine here now. Have we inked? No. That's great for us, actually, then. So we can do this. Bounce the Lady Tremaine, and just play a goat. and then say go. And then all they can do is deal with the Maleficent if they want to not be aggressive. And then we have the Tremaine to try and deal with what they're doing over there. Okay, so they Surfer Stitch. Kind of wish I had that Teeth now. You can almost race what they're doing. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll put us at 13. It's pretty close to racing. Yeah, I don't think I can worry about that. I think I just have to race. Since we have so much reach, I think we can afford to do it too. Let's do this on the goat. Bounce the goat. We play this. Spellbook. Get rid of this and then play the goat again. So now we have 2 on board, so we're effectively at 16 here. So just questing out doesn't necessarily stop what's going on. Because if they quest out, they go to 12. And then we've got 2 here. Plus we can draw a card with the rabbit. And like, if we get 2 more turns with the goat or with the spellbook or whatever, that's also fine. Because then that'll gain enough lore as well. So by not dealing with what we have on board fast enough, there, you know, it's problematic, of course. Okay, so we get to draw a card. That means that we win next turn. So that was a good draw. I like what they're doing over there. I think Zepha's been testing Mufasa shells all day, basically. He's been posting videos on all the different colors. Beast hits the Mim. We go this, this, this. Bounce the goat. Do this. Play the goat again. And then say go. Like, I like what's going on over here. It's a lot of, like, do stuff to the board. I think the Tianas are kind of interesting, because you can just, like, barf out your hand, and then... you can barf out your hand and then have Tiana. Oh, that's cute. Draw 2 extra cards. Oh, that's so cute. What? It has Goofies in it as well. Rapunzel just comes in, draws extra cards with that. Like, oh my goodness, this deck is cute. What the hell? Alright, we hit him with the well played. We'll get him with the spellbook here. It's a good game though. Damn, they were doing some stuff. If we don't have a Be Prepared and we're not just done that turn, we're pretty screwed. Rough. Wow, that's a cool deck though. I was not expecting a random Goofy, and with how many sort of random dorks that they have, the Tremaines kind of were struggling. Tremaine is not very good against Mufasa, like, at all. The only card that I found that's particularly good against Mufasa is, like, Scar. Because you can slam in to the Mufasa. They flip something, it comes in exerted, and then you can hit it. I guess I do have to be thinking that it does come in exerted, so a lot of things we can probably deal with, given some of the hands that we have. Like if we've got a Maui, you know, we can clean up a lot of those things. It's an interesting deck. I like the Surfer Stitches and the Rapunzels, along with the Mufasa. I think off the top, those are some pretty neat cards. I hope they really crack a Mufasa, another cute Mufasa pile, because I think it's really a fun deck. I think we get rid of the Spellbook for sure. This hand is really slow. I guess we have a Tremaine into a Shift Tremaine, but it's kind of slow otherwise to be on the play. We'll see. I'm keeping more of these hands because it feels like it's okay to be a little slow. As long as you have like the Tremaine, the Shift, as long as you have some of the cards to work with it, I think it's okay. It's okay against basically everything except for the Hyper Aggro. That one, this hand is not the best against. And then you could maybe have gotten rid of the big Lady Tremaine. So they ink a Robin Hood to start. That's a 6-drop blue. We get rid of a Maleficent here and say go. Ideally, I'd like to keep a Maleficent as a turn 3 play, but we have other turn 3 plays that we can make as needed. We could even just like run out the Spellbook rather than the Mim. We'll have to see. Looks like they're probably a ramp deck of some sort. Grammatala, sure. Goat is good at closing, but we're not quite there. And I don't know if they're going to be wheeling us or not, so I think we'll play this. Because we're going to have to get this off the board for the Tremaine Shift to be good anyway. We'll have to see what their second color is. Because at this point, we're still not sure. I'm going to guess Steel with how much ramp they've done. Or maybe they're mono blue. Still kind of up in the air. I'm thinking I bash that. I think we play the Mim. Instead of the Maleficent here. Because then we can sing Friends on the other side if we don't attack with it. And it'll stop the hops from questing. So they have another hop, so maybe it is mono blue. So far, it looks like it is mono blue, which I can appreciate. They are at 6 on turn 3, or turn 4, casting Gaston, which I can appreciate. If they quest with hops, that's probably okay for us. I think we sing. Alright, because we got the Maui, that's pretty good here. Thinking we get rid of Olaf. And then just play the Merlin. This gives us a reasonable curve out here. It's a good draw. Unless our opponent just wheels us the Gaston and then, you know, then all these cards are for naught, of course. If so, then it was very expertly navigated by our opponent that they are on a mill deck. I mean, maybe. They have 50 cards left in their deck. Unless they just did, like, add all blue, I suppose, which is possible. I'm curious to see how it works out. We have a couple lines that we can make next turn. We can use our Mim to bounce something, and then we can still play our Lady Tremaine. Gaston opts to trade with our Mim Fox. Okay. Fair enough. Probably would have quested for 3 there. Fishbone Quill. Okay, more ramp. Can't really ever get rid of the Fishbone Quill, so I can appreciate that. Well, they know that we have the Mim Fox, I suppose, so we're kind of playing face up here. Which makes this a little worse, of course. I don't think we necessarily need to draw any more cards. I think we can just play this and just start getting some lore in. We can follow it up with like Tremaines or whatever too. I'd like to sneak this in at some point. Next turn we have the line of just like play little Tremaine Spellbook. Because then we can always shift and then play this one to bring it back to our hand as well. Flaversham on the Fishbone Quill. Okay. So far, still just blue. Blue-red. Unexpected. Big unexpected. Okay. Very big unexpected. I like what they're doing here, though. Can't really deal with the Sisu this turn. We can try to play towards the Maleficent Dragon in a couple of turns. If we just draw 2 cards. Teeth and Ambition. That's nice. What if we play Lady Tremaine? Play the Spellbook. Just use one of the Spellbooks. I don't know, it's interesting, because I don't think, because we have the Be Prepared, we don't necessarily have to do that much. Because they don't know about the Be Prepared either. Like, we don't necessarily need this to shift, but I want to be able to threaten, like, some of what they're doing there. Well, now we definitely have to be prepared. So that's fine. Yeah, we certainly have to be prepared on our turn. And then they aren't that much ahead of us on ramp. Still just the 3. Now they know about the Be Prepared, but it doesn't matter a ton anyway. It likely means that they're going to quest at these 2, however, for the 3. Which is interesting, because it almost means we don't have to be prepared. If this wasn't so large, we could... We can't quite make them do that with the Tamatoa, so I think it is sort of forced. It's really close, though. If this wasn't a 1/6, we could have almost Tremained it, but I think it's fine just to quest with these and be prep. Draw a card, so they go. Now we can basically draw as many cards as we want, because we know that they can't really stop us. Every turn after this, my plan is to try and activate the Spellbooks. To get them on a reasonable clock here. If they only play one thing, they know that we have this Tremaine. We can Tremaine, maybe get rid of one of these Maleficents, and then eat it. While still getting the Spellbooks. So we play a Flaversham and something else to keep it around. Do I even care about these? We can get rid of the Teeth and Ambitions. I'm not entirely sure that I care about... I mean, I do care about the Flaversham, but the Queen of Hearts... Basically, their play next turn is they're going to draw 2 cards with their thing, and I can't really stop them from that. But I suppose I should at least play the Tremaine to kill the Queen of Hearts. Given the way that our hand is shaping up with the teeth, we can keep both of the Maleficents and then still play the Tremaine. And generally, Maleficent with the Mims is very good against this deck, this type of deck at least. I'm surprised that they got rid of the Flaversham there, knowing that they have the Fishbone. But I guess it's possible that they got rid of the Fishbone into Inkwell earlier. We'll see. Nick with no Popsicle. We can clean both of these up and still keep both Maleficents. I think we'll do that. We do this. Play Mim, bounce Tremaine. Hit here. Play Tremaine. I know that I said I was going to do the spell books, but it's just too good not to clean up the board while still keeping our control cards. They play a Maui. Not sure that I care. I can just have it do nothing, and then get 2 lore off of the spell books here. It's kind of on our opponent to do something, because we actually have an active clock, so they need to deal with what's going on over here before they can, before we have to really worry about what's happening. Don't think that we need the Yzma. I would rather get 2 and then get the Hades here. Since we got the extra ink, that's a line that we can do. Because with these 2 Be Prepareds plus the Maleficent, our opponent doesn't really, I think, have the ability to play enough cards to get us off of the spellbooks, unless they start blowing up spellbooks here. Because even if we just do nothing and spellbook them for a few turns, they are not in a great spot. Running this out instead of the Maleficent, because getting 1 from Shere Khan doesn't really hurt us that badly, and this puts them on a little bit faster clock. Okay, that's fine. We get 1 out of the Shere Khan. We'll play a Be Prepared. These again. Play our Rabbit out after, threaten lethal. Alright, looks pretty good this game. Well, they found their first Popsicle, which is unfortunate. I've played the Popsicle deck, and when you're not getting them until pretty late, it does feel pretty bad. So I can sympathize. This is also how I lose most of the time when I'm playing Popsicle as well. Alright, that gives us an 8 and 1. Pretty good so far. I can see why people have been enjoying playing this deck. Feels like it has a lot of answers to things, as well as a lot of ways of closing out the game, getting your own lore. And I like that there are so many different variations on it too. Even if, for the most part, they have a very similar core, you know, with the goats and the rabbits, sort of the Mim Fox and such. There are still, you know, there's the Arthur variants, there's different colors you can add for your second one. Like, it's pretty good. don't need the spellbook early. We're going second. We don't need to be prepared. We can keep these 2 for ink. That gives us this on 3, and then we maybe still have the Maui. Okay. Not the most aggressive hand I've ever seen. But we at least have a run out on plays, which is nice. Teeth and Ambition, playing a Minnie Mouse. Okay. So this hand is okay into this matchup. We do have a 3 into potentially singing it, and then we have a Maui to hopefully clean up whatever they're doing. If they're on Arthurs, I like this hand a little bit less, because the Arthur will come down, it'll have Minnie Mouse protection along with, in this case, a 3/3 Mim. This list is probably a little bit closer to the mirror, I would suspect. We'll get rid of this here. Say go. Not having a 1 or a 2 is a little unfortunate. We may use his Teeth and Ambitions on something. There are some cards that the Teeth and Ambitions are okay. This matchup. We opt to bounce to upgrade. I think that's a reasonable play. I think I can get rid of the Teeth and Ambitions since we drew the Mim. Mim is a more useful card for us. I'm gonna go ahead and run out this Maleficent and just draw a card. I am maybe on board with drawing 2 cards with this one and then playing the Rabbit. And then we can start setting up for more in the coming turns. Would I kill their Mim if I had an option to do that? I don't know if I would, unless it was something like Maui. But since we're an inch short of that, I think we're just gonna do the Friends on the Other Sideline here. We could keep the Olaf to give us some Tremaine protection, but I don't think I would want that over the Maleficent. Because, like, we're just not going to have time to play it in the next few turns. Like, we're more on board with, you know, jamming out Tremaines, setting up for Be Prepared. I wouldn't even hate getting the Spellbook online, though it is a 1-ink tax every turn. It gives us a 20-turn clock, which is not the fastest thing ever. But it is more of a clock than what we have right now, which is none. They opt to bounce their Fox again. Are they going to replay the Fox to bounce the Rabbit? They are going to play a different Fox to bounce the Rabbit, it looks like. So they have another Mim Fox in hand. This makes our Maui a little awkward. I'm gonna play this. Yeah, the Teeth and Ambitions are just not it in this match, I don't think. But I can see questing here, getting out a 3/3 of our own. Well, we got a lot of cards in hand, and so does our opponent. Eventually, we're gonna have to start closing out the game, so I'm thinking I want this Spellbook in play now that we're getting to this stage of the game, so that we can have it when we're doing the Be Prepared stuff. I'm also fine just like smashing into their Mim Rabbits here. Or sorry, their Madam Mims. Costs 4 to get this down. I can do the Spellbook and then untap our Mim if I want. That is an option. I can also just Maui. bop both of these. Maui, get them both. Quest with this. Leave them with just the Mim in play. The Mim Fox, if you will. That, and I think we can quest, or we can get rid of this Yzma. We already have plenty of cards right now. It's possible that they played the mirror more than me, and just like drawing with the rabbit 1,000 times is the way that you win. I would not be that surprised. But they have used a lot of their snakes already. I guess maybe not. They've used 2 of them. Well, they're not using Teeth and Ambitions here. Are they going to Fox this? I suppose that's possible. They did, but they're choosing to Fox the rabbit. That's fine. Are they going to attack here? Okay. I feel like that's good for us. Most of the time. Debating on whether or not I want to keep this Olaf, but what I would get rid of if I do. Perhaps we just do this, and then think about it after we draw another card. Yeah, that'll work. Do it like that. This makes Tremaine, like, not the best on their side. I would like to start closing out the game, I think. I think now we're at that point where we want to sort of start getting this online. So we play this. I'll play a rabbit. An Inca Maui. Get this, hit the Mim with Olaf, and then quest with ours. So we've kept rough parity as far as lore, but now we have our spellbook down. And we have a bunch of Mims, which our opponent has used 2 of theirs already, and we have used none of ours. I think this card just gets better the later the game goes. Because it works with the goats very well. Like, we have lines now where we can start doing goat with Mim as opposed to drawing cards. Hey Sean, how are you? Yeah, I don't know if our opponent is controlling the board in the way that they would expect to here. They have like 300 cards in their hand, which, that's fine. I mean, having that many cards is good. But at a certain point, you just like don't have the time to cast them all. Like, I can't imagine a scenario where they need this many cards, is basically what I'm saying. I would like to kill this Merlin do this, and then also goat. But we could goat these and kill the Merlin. We can go goat, Mim the goat, hit their Merlin. Get rid of a mini so we can keep ink and then say go. So we got 2 lore out of this, 1 out of this, so we gained 4 lore that turn. It is not that many turns where we have to do something like that before we can just close out the game with the spellbook. Hydrate is a good idea. And if our opponent starts pulling the trigger on like Be Prepareds before we do, then that's a pretty good spot for us to be. Is that their last Mim Fox? It is. They fox our fox. Well, that is not probably what I would have done there. So they're out of Mim foxes to bounce. They could still have Mim snakes to bounce. That's possible. We can quest here. We can... Okay, so this is another 2. I think we spellbook, and then we Be Prepared here. Get that goat off the table. Even though we know that they don't have a lot of ways of bouncing it, I'd rather just not have it on the table at all. Another Mim Rabbit. At a certain point, like, I don't care what cards they're drawing. Because they already have so many. I don't know what they're looking for, but I hope they find it. Thinking... We do Spellbook and another Be Prepared. And we'll let them draw another card. And then say go. They got card draw, Brain Rot. It's like, try to win the game or draw 25 cards. And they're like, what if I just draw 25 cards? Okay, I mean... I'm all for that. Let's do... I kind of don't care about these that much. I think I would rather do this. Merlin. Mim the Merlin. Got addicted to Hearthstone again. I think I'm down to play the Minnie Mouse and just say go. Like, we're getting to the point where it's on them to try to do something to stop us versus us having to do anything. One, two, three, 4, 5. Four, 5, 6, 7, 10. Can I just kill them next turn? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm 1 ink short. So I should have inked this last turn. Then I could have killed them in 1 turn. So that's all but one of their goats. 16, 17, 18. Okay, so I have to be prepared here. And then I think I do this and play the mini. There you go. And now any Inkable is enough for us to just get him. Oh, no, we don't even need an Inkable. We get him with the goat anyway. I don't think they can play this goat and bounce it and play it again and bounce it again. I don't think they have enough for that, right? Because they only have the 2 snakes. They might. If they have both snakes in hand, they got us, I think. LeFaux is not it, though. It had to be double snake with the goat, and then they exactly had enough with 12. Okay, so now we do this. Play our goat again. Play the Mim again. Bounce the goat for the 4th time here. We burn out our opponent and get him. And they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards left in their hand. Because they've drawn so many cards. Which, I mean, again, you only need so many resources to win the game. At a certain point, you have to pivot off of just drawing. But that is a tricky matchup to play, so I can certainly appreciate that. So that puts us at 9-1. It's a pretty good run for 10 games. That is not bad at all. Candio's still just grinding away. Zephyr and LD as well. We climbed a bit of points. We like that. It's pretty tight down towards the bottom here. I don't know if we're intending on keeping on the top 25. I suppose we probably can, as long as we're playing some better decks here. So let me reload the client real quick, so that we can see kind of where our stats are at here. So, all time, we do have some pretty good results on the deck overall, but we have even better results since we've updated it. Previously, I was playing one that had Arthurs and stuff in it, which I think was a little bit worse, especially against the gray decks. We have pretty good results here. Sometimes you lose to orange-purple. That'll happen. If you don't have the Minnie Mouse or the Olaf into like Teeth, or into like Lady Tremaine, Mim Fox, or something to keep up with what they're doing. It is a tricky matchup for sure, because they just like quest very fast and kill you before you can really be prepared or do anything to catch up. But I feel like this deck has a lot of ways to close, and I like that a lot, which would explain why I've been losing to it so much. Deck feels very strong. I think I'm gonna play one more set, and then we'll see where that leaves us. We haven't run into like the exact mirror playing the Surfer minis, and it's possible that we should be running out more Surfer minis, though. I haven't found any spots where like we've really been super punished for not running out a mini in a certain time period. There were some spots where we probably should have inked them more aggressively, though. I do think the card is quite good. I really like Spellbook, mostly because I think that it is just such a difficult card to interact with. There's only a handful of things that destroy items in the game. But it is a tricky card to play because it is uninkable, so I feel like the number at 2 is probably fine. Any more than that, I think you can get clogged on them, similar to how sometimes we get clogged on these rabbits a little bit. And you really don't want to be just trapped with them in your hand. So we're going second here. We need a little bit faster of a draw, I think. I can maybe live without the second rabbit, since we have the Maleficent, and then these are fine. Okay, I like this. This is a good start. We don't know what we're playing against, of course, but I like the cards that we've drawn a little bit better. So they're playing Steal something, because they inked the Prince Eric. Given that they're playing Prince Eric, it is likely more of a control deck than it is not a control deck, and they're playing more defensively with a card like that, so I think we can probably get rid of the Teeth and Ambitions and just play Olaf here, and then our intention is to bounce it with the Mim next turn, and then we can ink it the turn following. Caterpillar. Okay, so they're playing an aggressive blue steal, so the inking the Teeth and Ambitions did bite us in the butt a little bit there. I think it'll be okay, though. I'm not sure that I would have blasted Aurora anyway over playing the Mim. But it did cut us off from that line. We probably should have just inked a Maleficent Sorceress instead, since we had other rabbits and such anyway for card draw. Shift is problematic here. What do we do against the Shift? I guess we just play the same game that we were playing before, but we try to dig for Tremaine a little bit faster. Oh, that'll work. They go. I mean, if they wheel us, it's kind of rough. But we don't really need the rabbits if they're looking to wheel us anyway. This hand is quite replaceable, I think. So if they do wheel us, we don't really need to worry about it too much. The horse armor is a little awkward here. I think we friends on the other side here. We can't Maui at this turn, but we can next turn potentially. I'm debating on whether or not I want to play this Tremaine, but the Tremaine is really mid against swords if they have it. I think I'm just going to play the rabbit, and then I think I'm actually just going to quest this. The intention here is that realistically they can just hit the Maleficent now if they want, and if the Maui is going to be good, it's going to be next turn anyway. So we would like 1 damage to be on the Aurora if possible, so that we can try to deal with what they're doing over here, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be possible, but maybe. If they attack here, then they're going to lose their Aurora, which is good for us. Now that Shift would have been a little bit better. Obviously, we don't have it in this case. Quest. Interestingly, I'm considering just playing Maui. The reason that I'm running out the Maui here is that it threatens, if they sing, that we still have an answer for what they're doing. So they're Cogsworth with double ward. We do have the option of Lady Tremaining them now, which is nice. I don't think we need this Maleficent as much. We do this, do this, do this. We can play both Tremaines if we want. And then it makes the package to bounce them back better later, I guess. Because it's technically like the same. And the cards themselves, like having quantity of card doesn't matter, but their answers are inking it, so then we can ink the other Tremaine, which I think is nice. Okay, we do that and say go. We have the pressure, so they have to do something. I mean, they have a very defensive board with like 10 mouse armors on their prince over here. It's going to be difficult for us to get through that. This has what, resist 4? No, resist 3. We can deal with resist 3, right? Doesn't it just die to Maui? Oh, it does resist 4. They have 2 mouse armors. That's fine. We can still get it anyway. And then we can get most of these. We can definitely get this. If we... I think we get rid of the Yzma. We play Mim. Bounce Maui. Play Maui. Bash that. Then we bash here. And we get a concede. Okay, that's fair. They had a very reasonably well-protected card, no cards in hand. And then we were going to be able to clean it up with the Teeth and Ambitions there, I think. If we wanted. But they were running out of stuff to do. Without a wheel, their deck was kind of non-functional beyond just like playing stuff. The Steel Sapphire Bodyguard was very interesting. I actually thought that was kind of cute. I don't think we would ever really been able to deal with it without Maui. Seeing as how their board was protected with both Ward and Resist 4 Bodyguard, which is pretty rough. Obviously Be Prepared would have been just fine there as well. But an interesting deck for sure. So I go second. We don't need all these rabbits. We can keep the Teeth and Ambition to potentially be ink. But also it's like a good answer to stuff. Another Bodyguard Prince. So they're purple and purple steel, or amethyst steel, if you will. Run out another Pascal. Strength of the Raging Fire. Is it a 3rd Pascal? No, it's an Olaf. Okay. I feel like we're going to be in a pretty good spot this game with all these teeth, so I'm glad that we kept them. I will play out the Lady Tremaine, which will claw us back a lore, which is nice. So we can smack the Olaf. Oh, we can't get their Lady Tremaine back because they blasted it, but they have really no cards left in hand. That does slow us down quite a bit, unfortunately, though. I guess we're putting this back in our hand. We'll be able to play the Merlin Rabbit next turn. Not being able to play the Mim this is unfortunate. But I can appreciate them singing in that spot. Arthur. Ugh. You're not like that. The Teeth and Ambitions are looking slower and slower, huh? And that 2-drop Lady Tremaine would have been real nice. Are we going to perish before we have a chance to interact with what they're doing? I'm curious to what the steel is adding for their deck. Obviously they got to deal with our 2-2. Are we just dead on board? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not fucking good. We have no ink either, which is really unfortunate. We probably have to hit one of these Pascals with Teeth and Ambitions. No, 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 no. I fucked it. I wanted to sing it, and it just auto-cast. Oh, no. Well, I guess we're dead then. Alright, fair enough. We misclicked. We've perished. I don't think we had a good shot there anyway, either way, but certainly not sinking the Teeth and Ambitions to target, kill a Pascal, and then hit Arthur with a Fox means that we definitely didn't have a chance. We would have needed to have drawn another inkable thing that turn off of the rabbit as well, so it was pretty tough either way. Because they would have been able to bounce another 1-drop and then replay it with the Arthur as well. So then they would have at least had an untapped thing. They would have gained 3, 4, 5, 6 to go up to like 18. So like any goat just is straight lethal on us. Assuming that we even had enough resources to kill everything that was left on board, which I don't think that we did. Because the Fox could only take care of one, the Tremaine could take care of another. They still have like 3 guys, so yeah, it's not great. Alright, so we go first, that's good. This hand is not the fastest I've ever seen, but I think it's a good keeper. We have a lot of card draw, we have some early interaction, which against this matchup certainly matters a lot. We play Olaf and say go. I believe that this is the same opponent that we just fought. We get rid of the Yzma. We play out the Tremaine and we quest here. So we get to be the beatdown a little bit while we're setting this up. Especially since we have so many characters, we don't have to be the defense just yet. I assume that they'll play a 2-drop and then quest with Pascal, but they may hold Pascal back. But if they play something like a Pinocchio, probably not then. That's a really good draw, actually. So we'll play the Maleficent, draw a card here. I don't really want them to Mim Fox us. I guess it's fine if they Mim Fox the Olaf. Because ideally we need to use this Lady Tremaine to clean up what they're doing over there. Assuming that it's still alive. Because if they Fox Mim, we can like hit here. Tremaine comes in, they sack something, we hit the other one. Would basically trade our board for theirs. Oh, they get to keep the Pinocchio. Okay, that's fine. Then we'll just get to keep our Tremaine in play, if we want. I almost want to sing here, but is this better just to be dead? We can do it this way. We can shift this first and then see what they do. Because if they sack the Pascal, which most likely they will, we can still do this and then sing with the Tremaine. Yeah, we can bash here and then sing with Tremaine. Nice, that's a good draw. Especially with this other Mim. Like, I want to play a bunch of Tremaines, the little ones. Next turn I would even consider doing, like, Friends on the Other Side sing again. And then, Mim plus Tremaine. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. I can even get rid of one of these Teeth and Ambitions too. Tremaine, and then we'll get rid of one Teeth and Ambitions because we have so many other things to be doing. This puts threat on the goat. as well, and we can keep their lore count a little lower. So I appreciate that they're hitting the Tremaine with that, because we actually just have another one, and we can just cast it straight up too. Like if they just run out Arthur, we just cast Tremaine, and that's also fine. Like I'm okay hitting this, and then see what they do. We can even like Teeth a thing and then Tremaine as well, and then we get to keep our Mim. It's a possibility. They still have a Pinocchio in hand. They Mim back their goat. That's fine. In this case, we can get rid of one Teeth. We can just play a Tremaine. No, we can shift the Tremaine, I think. Get rid of their lore. Yeah, I like that better since we have this Mim. Okay. They play out a Pinocchio, they play out an Aladdin. Okay, that's fine. Pinocchio and an Aladdin. Playing out anything else? They are not. So since they're not playing out anything else, I'd like to clean up this board. So we can get rid of that. We can sing Teeth and Ambitions. And we can hit this on Pinocchio. We can play Lady Tremaine. The Aladdin, and then we can quest for 2. So they don't have Be Prepared, so we don't have to worry too much about that. They also don't have Maui. They do have Mim Foxes, so they can always Mim Fox what we're doing. If they have Merlin plus Mim Fox this turn, it's a little obnoxious, but the Storm Rage on is not that big of a deal for us. Numbers-wise, it is... Could shift onto this Tremaine, actually, to kill the goat. I kind of like that. If we play this one, we can bounce here. And then we can just shift... We could just get rid of this goat, but I think it's just better to shift here. Even though it consolidates our threats a little bit. I think that's fine. Because our opponent is trying to kill us, not control the board. And now I can Mim this back. To get all the Tremaines back to our hand. So we quest here, Mim Fox, bounce like 50 Lady Tremaines. And then I think we play this, and we play this too. I think so. We kind of want to close out the game. Like, I think we have now become like the beatdown here. Because this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if we play another shifted Tremaine. We don't have to shift them, we can also just cast one. Because if our opponent's not questing, I think that's fine. Then we just quest. And if they do quest, then we have the Tremaines to be very good. They play out a lot of things to protect their Maleficent. That's fine. They opt to bash our Mim with their Mim, which is great for us. We could just be prepared our opponents. With double Tremaine in our hand. 2, 3. Alternatively, we gain 2 and kill the Olaf. I think I like this better. Because we know that we have the Tremaines. And I'd rather them not get to 13 or whatever. Because I don't think that they have as many things that they're able to play. Or they need to play a lot of things. And they just don't necessarily have the like shift lines that we do. Because we can always draw another Be Prepared. That is not great. There's a Lady Tremaine. I assume that they'll sack the Merlin. See, Arthur's a little bit stronger. We play that plus an Olaf here. This means that we're threatening to go to 18. They don't have a goat. I'm surprised that they played the Maleficent before drawing 2 cards if that was their plan. That's not great. The Strength of a Raging Fire are Tremaine. That is not good. Wow. That's so bad for us. Holy shit. Because that's lethal straight up. If we get rid of a Maleficent, I still think it's not great. But I think we have to. So we play Tremaine, they get a Maleficent. Then this can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then they can reset it. So we need to draw a goat, basically. And have them not draw a goat. Goat or Spellbook would also be fine for us. This is not really a redraw for us either. It's a close game. We have outs here, though, which for such a tight game is important. Unfortunately, the rabbit... Oh, we got there. Never close. Always had the goat. Always had the goat. Just always have the goat. Just like it is when we're playing against this deck, right? It was a close game, though. Very close. Alright. We are on our rubber match here to see if we get the points or not. Deck feels pretty good. It doesn't necessarily feel like we're out of any game. Like we have play against most of the decks, which I think is probably what the benefit is of a deck like this. Is if you navigate it well and you play to your outs, the deck has a lot of ways of drawing into them and a lot of ways of just interacting with what's going on, and you can kind of change whether you're the beatdown or whether you're the control pretty well, which not every deck has. Some decks, they barf out their hand. If your opponent answers it, well, rip and pep, right? But not every deck is like that. And some are a little bit more mid-rangey, like this one. Sort of a mid-range control that we're doing in this case, I think, which I kind of like. All right, so we go first. Pretty bad hand. We can get rid of the goat. We can maybe get rid of a Maui. And maybe... Man, we don't really need either Maui. What if we do something like this? Yikes, that is maybe even worse. Hopefully our opponent is not on a fast hand. I opted to keep the Tremaine just to give us some potential interaction to draw towards. Okay, so it's Popsicles. This deck is, or this hand is not great against Popsicles. That helps, actually. Not a lot, but it does help. I think I play the Olaf, and then I maybe just get rid of this Mim. Though there's a world where I play that one next turn and then ink the Olaf. I think the Foxes are just more useful in general. Given that they can sing the song as well, I think there's value there. Ooh, that is a great draw. Okay. I'm getting rid of one of these for sure. I think we're questing, and then I'm just running out the Minnie Mouse. This deck has very little answers to this until turn 5. Most of the time. Not always, but it generally does not have a ton of answers to the Mini. They have binned quite a few shields already. Interesting. I think we do this. I think we just play the Min Fox, and then we ink this Olaf. I would rather have the Min Fox in play, and I don't really want to be inking goats, ideally. See what they do, at least. That's the 3rd Shield of Virtue that they've gotten rid of. Interesting. I find Shield of Virtue to be very strong. Oh, Rabbit's a great draw here. Get rid of this. I don't really want to enable their Maui. Though I guess I can just smash my Rabbit into it. It's fine. If they Maui me, it's okay. I'm trying to think of like how I'm going to get rid of this Flabbersham. Generally, it's Lady Tremaines. So if their play is to like Maui and kill the Mim, then I need an answer to that before I can Tremaine and get rid of the Flabbersham as well. And if that's their line this turn, that means that they're not drawing any cards off of the Flabbersham. And I don't care about this. Like, I can just do this and it's fine. This was not a great attack from our opponent. If we have a Maui now, we could just Maui and hit that, and then it's really bad for them. But I'm okay with just doing the line that we had thought would work. Do this, draw a card. I don't think we need a second one of these. The first one is fine. We'll have the goats and whatever to sort of close out the game. The first one has been very good for us. Like, they still need an answer for it coming up on, you know, turn 6 now. This has gotten in for 6 already. It's the majority of our lore. Like, really, we want this Minnie Mouse to get us to maybe 13, 14. Because by the time that you get to 13, 14, then, like, goats are just... You're just dead to goats most of the time. Having a think, huh? I love it. Winnie the Pooh having a think is just the business. I love that. Let's quest with these two. Likely they're going to be board wiping next turn. So I really don't want to play any of the cards that are in our hand. I could, in theory, play the Little Tremaine, and then if they don't board wipe for some reason, then we can shift it and then get them. I'm maybe okay with that. But it's pretty likely that they're going to quest with this ink something, and then... and then, in theory, get us. I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe this is just, like, free. Because we can always just, like, on a raw board, play the Merlin Goat, and that's fine. But if for some reason they opt not to be prepared this turn, this does make our board a lot stronger, given that we threaten to do 2, 4, 6 and go to literally lethal with what we have in our hand. I don't think it's too much of a commitment to play it either. So I'm kind of okay with it. They go to 9. Maybe the Maleficent Dragon. Oh, they do be prepared. Okay, that's fine. Let's play the goat here. I think we'll ink the Maui. The Maui doesn't really matter at this point. Doesn't matter as much now that we have the Be Prepareds as well. Ideally, we're looking for like a Rabbit or a Spellbook or something just to get us a little bit deeper. If I have to be prep to keep up with them, I will. But I would rather just like leave my goat in play to do goat stuff. Could shuffle our goat back into our deck, actually. That's kind of cute. That's kind of cute, actually. Shuffle our goat back in, draw 2 cards. I don't love the Bell getting 4 lore here, but we do have the Be Prepared just to clean up the board. Hades, sure. I'm likely going to be prepared and just draw some cards. Our opponent's committed to the board like a little too much, I think. Given that we now can... just draw 2 cards here. Get rid of this and then be prepared. There's not really much that they could have done not to commit that much to the board, given what their hand texture was, since they needed to answer what we had. So they played Nick Wild. I'm quite happy with playing a Tremaine. If they play something else that actually matters, I would consider another B-Prep here. Given that we drew an Olaf, I think I will B-Prep. And then just play 2 cards. This threatens 3 if we want with the Lady Tremaine. And then we can still draw a card with the Maleficent as well. Yeah, it makes them be prepared of their own. I think that's okay. Especially because we have a good follow-up. And a good answer to whatever they have in their hand in theory. Play the Maleficent, draw a card. We could just replay the Maleficent. I don't hate that. Draw another card, play Minnie Mouse, they go. Especially because we're the beatdown, I think we can afford to do cute things like that. Let's turn this into a draw 2. We have enough lore, or enough ink rather, that we can make plays like that, I think. Opponent's in the tank a little bit here. It's possible that they have a Be Prepared and they're debating if they can do something to like draw cards instead of wiping the board. It's a lot of potential for what they have in with 2 cards left. Like they could have Tamatoa Be Prepared as their cards, and then they're considering how to navigate that if they need to try and dig. Looks like they've decided that they can't, so we will take that. Alright, nice. So let's reset this real quick here. It's the most climbing I've done in a while. And we did it with a pretty solid list, I would say. So we are now back to number 20, which is cool. Gained a bunch of points here. If we look at this deck, our bounce house here. So since our last update, we're 85% win rate with 12-2. Pretty good. The matchups where we struggled a little bit were both very aggressive lists. The orange-purple was pretty aggressive. And the purple-gray list that we fought against, we fought them twice. We managed to win one, lose the other one, but they were on a very aggressive Arthur and one-drops with some steel songs, sort of a package, which I looked pretty interesting. Generally, I would say that they're favored against us more often than they're not, mostly because they are leveraging a lot of the same speed that the orange-purple deck gets, but then they get some of the gray sweepers and stuff that you would normally expect out of steel. And then beat up on some popsicles, beat up on the mirror, beat up on a few other random flavors, some of the blue steel, sort of an interesting list. But yeah, I think the deck is quite solid. I will bring up the list one more time here, and then I will also put it in the description or in the chat if you'd like to check that out. So this is our deck here. Again, I think the 6 1-drops is a pretty good number. It enables you to snake on 2. It also enables you to teeth on 2 as well, which sometimes there are decks where you just need to be blasting right away. I feel like almost everything here is exactly where I would want the numbers. This Minnie Mouse was good. This one also very good. The spellbooks did some work for us this set of games here. Rabbits and Maleficents just drawing cards all day long. This deck seems great. The only truly expensive card on the deck is actually Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. If you don't have the Maleficents, you could up the Yzma count a little bit so you still have some removal, and then add things that are a little less optimal but still reasonable. There are other targeted removal things that you could do. Something like even just going up on minis and going a little bit down the curve would be possible, but the deck itself, you know, the only cards I think that are probably too important to really tweak the numbers on are likely the goats and the foxes and such, that little package, and the Be Prepareds are pretty important just as a way to kind of clean up, at least in these colors. So there are some other variations on this that I've seen that run some more targeted removal. There's the 3-drop card. Which one is it? It is a song. It is a new one that allows you to, yeah, Most Diabolical Scheme. So this, a 3-cost or more can sing it, so it's a song, and it is banish a chosen villain of yours to banish a chosen character. If you have things like the Maleficent, Sorcerer, or any of the Mims, those are all villains, and you can banish them to just do a 3-cost or a free if it's a song way of removing a card. It's very similar to a Dragonfire that was a song, so this is a very good card that I've seen pop up in as a 1 or 2 in some of the lists. So there's a lot of room to play here. I would say that any version of this, as long as you get some practice in, should do pretty well for you. So I think I am going to be done today. So thank everybody for hanging out, and if you have any questions, certainly let me know. I wonder if anybody else is even on. Doesn't look like it. It is pretty late in the day here. Nope, it doesn't look like it, so I think we're just going to call it there. And I will see you all next time. Don't forget to follow.